You know, usually when we talk about geography or meteorology for that matter, there's this expectation of absolute precision.
Right, like it's a hard science.
Exactly. It's like engineering. You look at a map, you see a mountain range, and a geologist can just point to it and say, well, there it is. Tectonic plates collided 3 million years ago, rock pushed upward, and end of story.
It's entirely binary. Quantifiable physics.
Yeah, mountain or no mountain, rain or no rain.
It is comforting, honestly. We fundamentally like our physical reality to be visible, measurable, and strictly categorized by the laws of thermodynamics.
But then you step into the world of Yandar, and suddenly that entire geographical rulebook is just thrown completely out the
I
window.
know, completely discarded.
So today, our sources are taking us and taking you, the listener, into a highly specific, utterly captivating location in the lore. We are doing a deep dive into Autumn Falls.
Which is a fascinating case study.
It really is. It's this town where the weather, the streets, the water, they are literally powered by human drama. So let's unpack this. We are diving deep into an environmental landscape that isn't just a backdrop, you know? It's a sentient ecosystem that feeds on feeling.
It bridges this impossible gap between psychology and geography. I mean, while many fantasy settings feature environments with a sort of magical aesthetic, Autumn Falls is unique because it operates as a living emotional organism.
A living emotional organism. That's a great way to phrase it.
Well, the environment actively participates in, and in many ways dictates, the internal lives of the people who live there. It forces a complete externalization of the subconscious.
So let's take a walk into what I can only describe as the Telenovela Town.
Which is fairly accurate, actually.
Based on the source material, Autumn Falls exists in this state of perpetual, perfectly curated autumn.
Right.
Leaves fall year-round in these warm shades of amber and gold and crimson. The air always carries this crisp sweetness, and everywhere you look, lanterns glow with this soft, romantic warmth.
It's highly engineered.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like someone weaponized the greatest fall candle scent ever invented and just built a municipality out of it.
The sensory profile is aggressively evocative. It's designed to induce a very specific, highly vulnerable state of mind.
Like yearning.
Yearning, nostalgia, and a desperate craving for connection. It immediately lowers your emotional defenses the exact moment you cross the town limits.
And that's where the idyllic postcard image kind of shatters for me personally, because the culture of this place sounds completely exhausting.
It requires a lot of energy.
It thrives on high drama. The text explicitly says that romance is a natural resource here.
Literally a resource, yes.
Gossip is a communal sport. The standard daily rhythms of life involve love triangles, dramatic confessions, weekly public breakups, and, wait for it, weekly proposals.
It's a highly volatile social structure.
Their actual local motto is Autumn Falls is where the heart is. If you dropped me in there, I wouldn't feel like I was in a cozy autumn retreat. I'd feel trapped inside a reality TV dating show where the producers purposely don't let anyone sleep.
It is essentially a panopticon of emotion. But we have to look at the mechanics of why it operates this way.
Right.
This isn't just a cultural quirk of a dramatic populace. It is an environmental imperative. The lore introduces this concept of emotional pressure.
Emotional pressure.
Yes, functioning much like barometric pressure in our world, but fueled entirely by sentiment.
Wait, emotional pressure. So instead of a high pressure system bringing in like a cold front, a high pressure system of unresolved romantic tension brings in what? A dramatic confrontation?
Precisely. Let's look at a practical application for you.
Okay.
Say you live in Autumn Falls, you have a headache, you just want to buy some milk, and you desperately want to avoid the cashier who happens to be your ex-partner.
We've all been there.
Right. In our world, you would just walk down a different street.
Yeah, you take a long way.
But in Autumn Falls, the terrain detects your internal avoidance. It registers the emotional pressure of your unresolved feelings.
Oh, no.
And the terrain will actively work against your desire to hide. The physical pathways might subtly curve.
You're kidding.
The masonry shifts. The wind carries literal whispers of those unspoken feelings. The town orchestrates the encounter.
Think about that for a second. Just imagine your own hometown doing this to you.
It's quite intrusive.
It's incredibly intrusive. You're walking down the street, actively trying to avoid someone, but the literal concrete under your feet subtly angles itself.
It refuses to let you hide.
The street curves in a way it didn't yesterday. The wind gives you a shove, and boom, you bump into your ex at the grocery store. The pound just forced a meet cute, or, well, a meat disaster.
It completely dismantles the physical boundaries we rely on in polite society.
Yeah, we need those boundaries.
We do.
Ew.
We use distance to regulate our emotions. We use closed doors to process grief or anger privately. Autumn Falls removes that architecture of privacy.
It just strips it all away.
It drags your subconscious out into the physical world and demands raw, unfiltered emotional truth, regardless of whether you are actually equipped to process it in that moment.
Which brings up a massive logistical question for me. Where do all these incredibly dramatic people come from?
That is the crucial variable.
Because if the town burns at this level of emotional intensity 24/7, you'd think the population would just implode.
They would burn out, yes.
So that leads us to the geography surrounding the town, specifically the Pine Brooks connection.
Ah, the Springlands.
Right. Geographically, Autumn Falls is located west of a place called Pine Brooks and south of the Frost region, situated along the Fall River system.
Yes, the river system is key.
And the sources emphasize that most of the residents of Autumn Falls originally migrated from Pine Brooks, which is known in the lore as the Springlands.
The juxtaposition of spring and autumn is highly deliberate here, environmentally and sociologically.
Right, and the people of Autumn Falls treat these Pine Brooks natives with intense reverence, like they are obsessed with them.
They are highly valued.
The Springland folks are seen as pure, wholesome, and emotionally grounded. They are viewed as the absolute ideal partners. There is a literal saying in the text, if you want a good heart, find someone from Pine Brooks. If you want a good story, go to Autumn Falls.
It perfectly encapsulates the dynamic.
But I have to push back on this dynamic. Autumn Falls feeds on chaos and gossip, yet they idolize the stability of the Pine Brooks newcomers. It feels almost predatory to me.
Predator is a strong word, but I see your point.
Like, they are treating these Springland folks as romantic trophies or emotional band-aids. Like, I'm a toxic mess. Let me go capture a wholesome Pine Brooks partner to fix me.
It absolutely borders on fetishization.
Thank you.
The Autumn Falls residents project this archetype of absolute innocence onto the Pine Brooks natives. But if we dig into the ecological reality of Yandar, this dynamic isn't just a toxic dating culture.
No.
No, it is a biological necessity for the town's survival.
Wait, a necessity?
Yes. The innocence and stability of the Springlands are mathematically required to fuel the passion of Autumn Falls.
Fuel it. So the wholesome people are just, what, coal for the drama engine?
Consider the physics of emotional intensity. It burns hot and it burns fast.
Yeah, that's true.
If Autumn Falls only consisted of chaotic, highly dramatic individuals constantly clashing with one another, the emotional energy would hit a critical mass.
Like an explosion.
Or it would burn itself out into profound apathy or literal destruction. They require a grounding wire.
Oh, I see.
The Pine Brooks natives absorb the excess voltage. They provide an emotional baseline of stability that allows the drama to spike without the entire societal system short-circuiting.
Okay, that makes sense from an energy perspective, but it still sounds like a terrible deal for the people from Pine Brooks. Why would they ever go along with this?
We see the answer codified in their traditions. The lore details the Harvester Feast.
Oh, right, the big festival.
Yes, this is a massive joint festival where both towns gather at the Autumn Falls riverfront.
Yeah.
They share Springland dishes, announce engagements, and celebrate their interconnectedness.
So it's very formalized.
It is a formalized, ritualistic integration of spring and autumn.
So they essentially throw a giant mixer to make sure the emotional grid stays powered. Pine Brooks provides the anchor, Autumn Falls provides the current.
Exactly. It is a recognized symbiosis. Pine Brooks benefits from the vitality, the art, the passion of Autumn Falls,
Sure, it's probably very exciting for them.
while providing the resilience that keeps that passion from becoming fatal.
I can see the allure, even if it is a bit alarming. But to really understand how this emotional pressure cooker functions, we need to take a walk through the physical environment.
The city planning is remarkable.
The world building in mapping the heart of Autumn Falls is just astonishing. The town is divided into these very specific emotion-themed districts, and the mechanics of each one are wild.
Let's start with Gossip Row.
Yes, Gossip Row. The text says this is the beating heart of the drama. Conversations literally spill into the streets, social storms erupt daily, and the air itself vibrates with whispered secrets.
A literal echo chamber.
But here is the kicker. Rumors literally shape the layout of the alleyways.
The architecture is entirely mutable. It responds to the frequency of communal thought.
But how does that actually work mechanically? I mean, are we talking about sentient bricks?
In a way, yes.
If a massive rumor spreads that, say, the mayor is having an affair, does a new cobblestone path just rip itself open through a brick wall to connect the mayor's house to his lover's house.
The lore suggests a form of psychosomatic masonry.
Psychosomatic masonry. Wow.
We have to assume the building materials themselves, the stone, the mortar, the wood, are deeply porous to emotional resonance.
Okay.
In our world, an algorithm on a social media platform shapes what you see based on the velocity of engagement and gossip.
Right. It pushes the juicy stuff to the top.
In Autumn Falls, the physical infrastructure performs that exact function. The more intense the rumor, the more the physical space contorts to accommodate the flow of that information.
That is insane.
It creates literal pathways of least resistance for the juiciest stories.
That is terrifying. It's a physical Twitter feed that you have to walk through just to get to work.
A very apt comparison.
Which brings us to Lover's Lane. Now, this one sounds a bit more pleasant on the surface. The lanterns glow brighter when couples walk by.
Very picturesque.
The air is warm. But then there's this specific detail in the sources. The waterways reflect memories of past loves, and chance encounters mark instant attraction.
Yes, the waterways are potent.
So think about this. You could be on a wonderful first date, the lanterns are glowing, the vibe is perfect, and then you glance into a puddle on the street and see a high-definition replay of your ex from 3 years ago, breaking your heart.
It introduces a profound friction into the romantic experience.
Friction is one word for it.
The environment actively refuses to let you exist purely in the present. Even in a district dedicated to current romance, the physical world demands that your present love be contextualized by your emotional history.
Is that supposed to be helpful? Because it sounds incredibly vindictive of the environment.
It acts as an aggressive filter. The town is testing the structural integrity of the current romance.
Oh, like a stress test.
Precisely. If seeing a reflection of your past love in a puddle derails your current date, then the current emotional connection wasn't strong enough to feed the town's energy grid anyway.
Wow.
The environment forces you to confront unresolved attachments before it allows you to form new ones.
Wow. It's like the town is a hyper-demanding relationship counselor.
It is entirely unforgiving.
Which segues perfectly into Heartbreak Square. This is described as a melancholic plaza where rain falls even on perfectly clear days.
The localized weather phenomena.
Right. The cobblestones hold emotional residue. It is the go-to spot for dramatic breakups, tearful monologues, and desperate reconciliations. I'm just marveling at how literal this is.
It is very on the nose.
If you are sad, you literally go stand in the localized rain at Heartbreak Square. It's like living inside a 90s R&B music video.
It is deeply theatrical, yes, but think about the psychological utility of a place like that.
Utility.
Yes. In our world, we expend a tremendous amount of internal energy masking our feelings to conform to our environment.
Oh, absolutely.
You might be enduring a profound personal tragedy, but the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and you have to go to the office and pretend everything is fine.
Yeah, put on a brave face.
This creates massive cognitive dissonance. It is exhausting. In Autumn Falls, the geography forcibly externalizes the internal. It validates your internal state.
So you don't have to pretend.
Exactly. It completely removes the burden of communication.
That's fascinating.
If you walk into Heartbreak Square and let the localized rain wash over you, your physical location signals to every single person in that town exactly what you're experiencing.
So there's no small talk.
There is no need for small talk. There is no need to explain yourself. The environment essentially says your pain is real, it is valid, and it is powerful enough to change the weather.
Powerful enough to change the weather.
For many, that level of environmental validation would be incredibly cathartic.
I actually love that framing. It takes the shame out of being sad.
It institutionalizes grief.
But then you wander into the memory market and the mechanics get a little more dangerous.
Very dangerous, yes.
This is the nostalgic district. Vendors sell bottled memories and sentimental trinkets. But the physical rule of this district is that time moves slower.
Temporal distortion based on sentiment.
Visitors frequently find themselves lost in recollection. I feel like I would walk in there to buy a souvenir snow globe and accidentally lose a decade of my life staring at it.
Nostalgia is arguably the most dangerous emotion present in Autumn Falls.
Really? Why is that?
Because it acts as an anesthetic.
How so?
The slowing of time in the memory market is a literal, physical manifestation of how nostalgia functions in the human brain.
Okay, track with me here.
When we are deeply nostalgic, we are retreating into a static, idealized version of the past. We stop engaging with the present.
Right, we're stuck.
By slowing time down physically, the memory market traps its visitors in that static state. It prevents forward momentum. It is a comfortable trap, but a trap nonetheless.
Comfortable trap. I like that. Which brings us to the Lantern District. Now, this is a night-only zone.
Yes, the illumination mechanics are unique there.
The lanterns here contain trapped emotions, and the pathways shift based on hope, fear, or longing, specifically guiding visitors toward emotional revelations.
It acts as an aggressive guide.
It sounds like a haunted house, but instead of running away from ghosts, you're running away from your own commitment issues.
Or, more likely, you're being physically steered toward a truth you have been desperately avoiding.
You can't outrun it.
The Lantern District seems to function as the town's localized subconscious. It only operates in the dark, illuminated by fragmented, trapped feelings.
That's eerie.
If the pathways are shifting based on your internal fears, the environment is designing a maze that you can only escape by confronting those fears.
It's forced self-actualization.
Precisely. And that journey often culminates in the final district mentioned, the Orchard of Echoes.
Right, the grove.
A sacred grove where trees whisper memories and falling leaves reveal emotional truths. The lore says people go there to heal, reflect, or seek closure.
So it's the therapist's office of the town.
In a manner of speaking.
You get rained on in Heartbreak Square, you wander through the dark maze of the Lantern District, and you finally end up in the orchard to figure out what it all meant.
The districts provide a complete life cycle for emotional processing.
Yeah, step by step.
From the instigation of drama in Gossip Row, to the climax in Heartbreak Square, to the reflection in the Orchard of Echoes, it is a perfectly designed psychological curriculum.
I hear what you're saying about a curriculum, but I have to disagree. Yeah, a curriculum implies you signed up for a class. This sounds less like a curriculum and more like an emotional prison.
That is a valid interpretation.
Where is the actual growth if you're being physically forced into these revelations by the pavement under your feet? If the town dictates your emotional journey, is it even your journey anymore?
That is the core ethical tension of Yandar. Does a forced revelation hold the same psychological weight as one achieved through personal agency?
I don't think it does.
If the environment extracts your truth, did you actually learn anything? Or were you just mined for data?
Mined for data. That is exactly what it feels like. And the absolute pinnacle of this mining operation, the crown jewel of Autumn Falls, brings us to the sacred waterfall.
Lover's Fall.
Yes, Lover's Fall. It is the most iconic landmark and the most popular wedding site in the region, but it comes with what the lore explicitly outlines as the rule of 3 enchantments.
The mechanics of this waterfall are where the town's arcane power becomes deeply concentrated.
Right.
We move from subtle environmental shifts to overt biological manipulation.
Right. So let's look at the rules. Rule number 1, drinking the water.
The ingestion phase.
If you drink it, it grants visions of past loves, past lives, and karmic connections. And crucially, it binds the drinker to the emotional rhythm of the town.
Permanent synchronization.
Rule number 2, looking into the water. This reveals the reflection of one's true love, and the text emphasizes that the reflection never lies.
Absolute truth.
Rule number 3, bathing in the water. Taking a dip turns the bather into a literal magnet for romance chaos.
It creates a localized gravity well for drama.
Love triangles, dramatic confessions, unexpected admirers, all drawn to you simply because you went for a swim.
It takes water, the most fundamental, necessary element for biological life, and weaponizes it as an emotional catalyst.
It's brilliant but scary.
The hydration process itself becomes an arcane binding ritual.
And it gets so much crazier. There is a massive capitalized warning to travelers in the lore.
With good reason.
It explicitly says, do not drink the water unless you plan to stay. Because if you do, the effect lasts for exactly 1 week.
A 7-day incubation period.
During that week, outsiders violently fall in love with the town itself or a person in it. They start hearing the town's music. They become fully assimilated into the ongoing telenovela.
Total immersion.
And my absolute favorite line in the entire source material, many have accidentally proposed during this period.
It's a striking detail.
Just accidentally popping the question on a random Tuesday because you had a sip of tap water at lunch.
Which brings us back to your previous point about the emotional prison. This raises the most profound question regarding the lore of Autumn Falls, the total obliteration of free will.
Exactly. Do these people actually have any agency, or is the water just driving the meat suit?
It appears human agency is highly compromised, if not entirely overwritten.
It has to be.
The water of Lover's Fall fundamentally overrides rational thought with narrative force. It isn't just a chemical aphrodisiac that makes you feel a bit more amorous.
Right, it's not just a love potion.
It actively rewrites your immediate destiny to fit the town's dramatic requirements. If you drink the water, your neurochemistry is altered to align with the town's ley lines.
Which is terrifying.
If you accidentally propose, was that your choice? Or is the town simply using you as a prop in its ongoing play to generate a spike in emotional energy?
It's like you're an actor who forgot you were in a play, and the water just forcefully shoves a script into your hands and kicks you onto the stage. Here is your ring, say your lines.
You are conscripted into the narrative.
But what happens when that 1 week effect wears off? Do you just wake up married to a stranger, completely horrified?
The binding effect, the fact that drinking the water permanently binds you to the emotional rhythm of the town, suggests a more insidious form of assimilation.
Oh, so it doesn't wear off.
The initial week might be a force high, an induction period.
Yeah.
Once you propose, once you create that dramatic anchor, you are woven into the social fabric.
You're stuck.
The town needs new storylines. It needs fresh actors to keep the drama from growing stale. The waterfall isn't just a romantic landmark. It is the town's aggressive recruitment center.
That is deeply sinister. A romantic tourist trap that literally traps you by rewriting your brain chemistry.
Quite literal.
And part of that trap, part of how it keeps you docile and engaged, involves the sensory enchantments of the town. We've talked about the sights and the weather, but the audio and the culinary aspects are wild.
The sensory input in Autumn Falls is just as manipulated as the geography. It is total immersion.
Oh, totally. Let's talk about the music.
Auditory cues.
The text notes that only locals, and those who've drunk from the waterfall, can hear the town's romantic, sensual soundtrack. It is ever present.
A localized broadcast.
It swells during dramatic moments, and it softens during tender ones. Outsiders can't hear it at all, and they usually think the locals are completely hallucinating.
Naturally.
I mean, imagine walking around with a personal Hans Zimmer or John Williams score dictating your day. You're reaching for the last apple at the market, your hand brushes someone else's, and suddenly the string section just crescendos in your ears.
Let's examine how that music functions as a mechanism of control.
Okay, I'm listening.
It acts as a collective subconscious link. If you and I are locals, and we are having a slight disagreement, we are both hearing the same tense, dramatic music swelling around us in real time.
Oh, wow.
We are receiving auditory cues instructing us on how we should be feeling.
Right, it forces escalation.
Exactly. It reinforces the emotional state, creating a feedback loop that makes it nearly impossible to de-escalate.
Because the music is telling you to be mad.
How can you calm down and be rational when the violins are screaming at you that this is the climax of the second act?
You can't. You have to deliver the dramatic monologue. The music demands it.
It removes all nuance.
It completely removes ambiguity. In the real world, relationships are fraught with misinterpretations. Like, is she mad at me? Is this a romantic moment? Or are we just being friendly?
Constant uncertainty.
In Autumn Falls, the soundtrack answers those questions definitively. If the cellos kick in, you know exactly what kind of conversation you're having.
And if the auditory manipulation doesn't fully cement your emotional state, the culinary manipulation absolutely will.
Yes, the food. The town is home to the largest homemade dessert company on the planet, Yandar, the Autumn Falls Bakery.
A fascinating industrial operation.
Their signature dish is the apple crescent pie. And this isn't just a really good pie. The text says this pie is infused with profound emotional enchantments.
A highly concentrated magic.
It triggers memories of first love. It induces euphoric nostalgia. It literally plays emotional music in your head with every single bite. And it makes the eater physically feel young and hopeful.
The sensory overlap is intense.
The lore even points out that Pine Brooks, the wholesome town, freely asserts their famous grandma-style cookies, cannot compete with the sheer emotional power of an Autumn Falls love pie.
This is a masterclass in how sensory input dictates biological reality.
So.
If we look at human psychology, this pie is weaponizing the concept of Proustian memory.
Okay, I love this concept.
Very relevant here.
Proustian memory, for anyone who hasn't heard the term, it's like when you smell a very specific brand of coconut sunscreen and suddenly you are instantly transported back to a childhood beach trip.
Exactly.
You don't just remember it, you feel it. The warmth, the lack of responsibility, it bypasses logic.
Perfectly stated.
Yeah.
It refers to Marcel Proust's novel, where the taste of a Madeleine cake dipped in tea unlocks a flood of vivid, involuntary memory.
Right, involuntary is the key word.
In human biology, taste and smell are processed in the olfactory bulb, which has direct, immediate connections to the amygdala and hippocampus, the brain's emotional and memory centers.
So it's a direct line.
Autumn Falls has taken this natural physiological pathway and flooded it with arcane enchantments.
Weaponized pie. I love it. But how is the magic actually binding to the food? Like, logistically?
We can theorize that the enchantments are bound to the carbohydrates and sugars during the baking process, perhaps utilizing the Maillard reaction as an arcane catalyst.
Oh, that's clever.
When consumed, these enchanted sugars cross the blood-brain barrier, delivering a highly targeted emotional strike directly to the amygdala.
So you aren't just remembering your first love, you are being forcefully injected with the neurochemical euphoria of youth.
It is an artificial high.
When you control what someone tastes, what they hear, and the physical streets they walk on, you completely control their reality.
Total environmental determinism.
The pie, the music, the shifting masonry, they are all mechanisms of control designed to maintain the town's emotional baseline.
Which naturally begs the most critical question of this entire analysis.
Who built it?
How is this happening? Who or what built this infrastructure? Because this level of synchronized planetary manipulation cannot simply be a quirky coincidence of nature.
Exactly. This isn't just a magic forest. This is engineered. That brings us to the hidden arcane plumbing beneath Autumn Falls.
The true engine of the town.
This is the crux of our mission today, revealing the hidden emotional mechanics that make this telenovela town tick.
We must shift our perspective from sociology and psychology into the arcane engineering of Yandar itself.
The sources outline a literal, enchanted water system that runs through the town. And this water changes color based on the dominant emotion of the area.
Color-coded emotional resonance.
Gold for joy, blue for sorrow, violet for longing, red for anger, and pink for nostalgia. But more importantly, there's a network of what the lore calls echo veins.
A fascinating construct.
Yeah, I'm geeking out over this concept. These are underground channels that carry emotional resonance between the districts. It is literal emotional plumbing beneath the cobblestones.
Yes.
If Gossip Row is overflowing with drama and anger, the echo veins pump that excess red energy over to Heartbreak Square to keep the blue rain falling.
It operates as a closed-circuit energy grid, but instead of transmitting electricity, it transmits human sentiment.
That's wild.
The town is balancing its own emotional pH levels constantly.
And it has an overflow valve. The text describes the Lantern Vault.
The quarantine zone.
This is a sealed chamber deep underground containing ancient lanterns filled with forgotten, repressed emotions. It's essentially a toxic waste dump, but for bad vibes.
Precisely.
Think about the emotional baggage you've suppressed over the years. Now imagine there is a literal physical reservoir beneath your house filling up with that baggage until it bursts. That is what Autumn Falls is actively managing.
That vault is incredibly significant from an engineering standpoint.
Wow.
It implies that the emotional processing system of the town is not perfectly efficient. There is emotional runoff.
Oh, like waste products.
Emotions that are too volatile, too toxic, or simply forgotten have to be physically quarantined so they don't destabilize the current emotional climate of the populace.
But where does the core power for this massive grid come from? The text mentions a rumor about the river's true source.
The source is the key to everything.
It says the source is rumored to be an eon spring or a fragment of the Magi star.
If we connect this single rumor to the broader cosmic lore of Yaenddarr, the entire context of Autumn Falls shifts dramatically.
Okay, pump the brakes for a second, because the cosmic lore of this universe gets incredibly dense.
It's quite expansive.
Walk us through exactly what an eon spring or the Magi star actually is and how it connects to a town full of gossiping romantics.
Gladly. Throughout the wider texts provided about the universe of Yaenddarr, we learn about the ethereal star system. At the top of this cosmic hierarchy is Celestria. She is a primordial eon, essentially a godlike embodiment of lunar energy and, crucially, the universal embodiment of love.
The embodiment of love, got it.
According to the mythos, Celestria gifted a primordial seed that sparked all life on this planet.
Okay, so Celestria is basically the goddess of love who seeded the planet.
Correct. We also have the Magi star, which is described as a primordial crucible of raw, unfiltered magic in this universe.
Like a battery.
Now, if the true source of Autumn Falls River, the water that powers the echo veins, the waterfall, the shifting streets, is truly a fragment of the Magi star, or a direct spring connected to Celestria's power.
Then Autumn Falls isn't just a weird magical town.
No, it reveals that this town is powered by cosmic primordial energy, It is essentially a planetary machine.
A machine.
The lore elsewhere describes Yandar as a living planet, a sentient world that possesses ecosystems specifically designed to filter and process different types of cosmic and biological energy.
Right, wait, like the jungle.
Exactly. We see this in another region called the Savage Jungle, which the lore explicitly states is designed to process the trauma of death and burn away spiritual corruption.
Right. I remember the death lore mentioning that when people die or suffer immense trauma, that dark energy flows into the savage jungle to be burned away by the harsh environment.
Precisely. The planet has organs.
Organs, wow.
If the Savage Jungle is the planet's furnace for processing fear and trauma, then Autumn Falls is the planet's localized processor for love, longing, and interpersonal connection.
Wait, oh my God.
The Magi star fragment acts as the engine core. The echo veins are the circuitry, and the town's residents.
The residents are the organic processors.
Yes.
So when someone goes to Heartbreak Square and cries in the rain, or when someone accidentally proposes at Lover's Fall, they aren't just living their lives.
They're performing a function.
They're literally doing a job for the planet. They're generating emotional data and energy that the planet requires to function.
They are participating in a planetary metabolism.
That is mind-blowing.
Their drama, their proposals, their gossip, their heartbreak, it is the necessary biological function of this specific region of Yandar. The town isn't a cultural quirk. It is a vital, functioning organ of a sentient world.
My mind is officially blown. We went from a CW teen drama to a cosmic emotional harvesting machine.
The scale is quite staggering.
But honestly, as fascinating as that is, I am exhausted just thinking about living there. Being an organic battery for a planet's love engine sounds awful.
It would be highly taxing.
Which leads us to the final aspect of our deep dive. The dangers of emotional overload. Because despite its extreme beauty, the amber leaves, the crisp air, the sweet pies, the text explicitly states that the town is deeply dangerous.
As any highly charged, uninsulated environment would be.
The hazards listed in the lore include emotional illusions, heartbreak spirits, memory traps, gossip storms, accidental love triangles, unintentional proposals, and overwhelming nostalgia.
A formidable list of environmental hazards.
I mean, on a travel brochure, a town of eternal autumn and romance sounds amazing, but living in a perpetual gossip storm or getting caught in a memory trap.
We have to consider the physiological and psychological toll of perpetual emotional intensity.
It's too much.
The human nervous system, even on a magical planet like Yandar, requires periods of baseline neutrality to function properly.
We need to chill out sometimes.
We need rest. Our parasympathetic nervous system has to engage so we can recover. Autumn Falls actively prohibits emotional rest.
Right, because the music is always playing. The streets are always shifting. The pie is always triggering your childhood memories. You are never just, existing.
You mentioned overwhelming nostalgia as a hazard. As we discussed with the memory market, nostalgia is a powerful drug.
Very powerful.
It is a yearning for a past that often never truly existed in the exact way we remember it. But to classify overwhelming nostalgia as an environmental hazard,
Yeah, that's intense.
that implies it can trap a person indefinitely. It prevents them from moving forward, from forming new attachments, from growing as an individual.
It stunts you.
The town doesn't just celebrate love. It preys on emotional vulnerability to keep its engines running.
It demands that your wounds stay open, because if your wounds heal, the drama stops. And if the drama stops, the echo veins run dry.
Exactly. Look at the heartbreak spirit mentioned in the hazards.
Yeah, what is that?
A heartbreak spirit likely isn't just a traditional ghost. It is the physical manifestation of unresolved grief that the environment refuses to let you process and move past.
No, it's cruel.
If you resolve your grief, you achieve peace. Autumn Falls cannot survive on peace. It requires friction.
So it actively sabotages your healing?
Yes.
It gives you the orchard of echoes to supposedly reflect, but it also sends a heartbreak spirit to make sure you never fully get over it. It's a closed loop of gorgeous romantic suffering. It's a gilded cage of sentimentality.
That is the perfect summary. A gilded cage. It is beautiful, it is intoxicating, but it is ultimately designed to keep you exactly where you are, generating the energy it needs to sustain itself.
Okay, let's bring this all together.
A review of the mechanics.
We started today by comparing geography to a clean binary science. A mountain is a mountain. But this deep dive into Yaenddarr has shown us something entirely different.
A completely different paradigm.
We've explored Autumn Falls, a town where the amber leaves of Gossip Row physically shift to accommodate the velocity of local rumors.
The psychosomatic masonry.
We looked at the truth-telling, destiny-altering mechanics of Lover's Fall, where a sip of water alters your neurochemistry and can end in an accidental marriage.
The biological override.
We unpacked the weaponized Proustian nostalgia of the apple crescent pie targeting the amygdala.
The culinary enchantments.
And, most importantly, we mapped the literal emotional plumbing beneath the streets, the echo veins in the lantern vault, powered by a primordial star fragment, turning a quaint, dramatic town into a massive planetary machine that feeds on human feeling.
It is a remarkable, terrifying synthesis of environment and psychology. The geography of Yandar is not something you merely stand on, it is something you experience, and more importantly, it is something that experiences you.
Which leaves us with the final thought to mull over.
Yes.
We've talked about what it would be like if your hometown shifted its streets so you'd bump into your ex, but let's take it a step further.
Okay.
What if your environment worked like Autumn Falls in its entirety? If the streets you walked every single day physically shifted to force you to confront your unresolved heartbreak, your deepest secret hopes, or your most paralyzing nostalgia. Wait, no, I mean your most paralyzing fears.
If the very air you breathed demanded absolute emotional honesty, and the walls of your home broadcasted your internal state to everyone around you, removing all capability to hide.
Right. Would you walk those streets and face it, or would you pack your bags and run as fast as you could?
It's a difficult question.
Think about it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Keep questioning the world around you, and we'll see you next time.